No? Okay.
Ok. Je change juste ça. Ok, parfait. Ça marche. So, a very warm welcome to you on behalf of AI Policy Labs to our podcast series on a very pertinent topic today, which is AI and Sustainable Development Goals. I am Luigi Fiora, a research associate at the labs, and I'm currently based in Turin. AI Policy Labs is a global initiative which has been set up with a vision to explore emerging technologies and assess the impact of intelligent automation, digitalization, and artificial intelligence on policymaking, implementation, and governance. Our primary focus is to explore the role of AI for public goods and AI for social good. Given the rise of automation and the use of artificial intelligence and other emerging technologies, it became extremely important to ask ourselves, with only a decade left to achieve the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals, what role can AI play in achieving these? Will the new generation of technologies take us closer or away from our global goals? With a vision to build discussions on these important issues, we have launched a program on AI and SDGs, which will comprise of podcasts, webinars, research reports, expert opinions, and articles to be published on our global channel in partnership with the Graduate Institute in Geneva. As part of the program, this podcast series is being conducted with the aim to understand the potential of AI in meeting the SDGs and concurrently the challenges that it may pose to stifle the same progress we're aiming to achieve. So to introduce the expert we have with us today, we have with us Professor Goudey, Chief Digital Officer and Professor in Disruptive Technology at the NEOMA Business School. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks a lot.
So in your view, is AI acting as an enabler or an inhibitor for achieving the SDG number 4 on education?
Well, definitely AI is an enabler for SDG number 4 concerning education. But first of all, AI is not really new. I mean, it's a concept that has been defined by Professor John McCartney in 1956 at Stanford University, and that's the science of making smart softwares. And AI is not new, and this definition explains that it's not about wizard or fantasy. It's a science, and more specifically, a combination of mathematics and computer science. And AI is already in our daily lives. I mean, we are using a lot some vocal assistants, sometimes in our mailboxes for filtering our email and spams. On social networks and search engine, and etc. AI is already everywhere, and AI is today helping and challenging education since a couple of years now. And why AI is an enabler for education? Well, first of all, if we are looking at this SDG number 4, basically, one of the key issue is inclusion of a lot of people, inclusion of millions of students. And AI is clearly a technology that aims to help to address and handle this huge volume and amount of students. So it's really interesting to dig into this technology concerning education.
So, as you mentioned that the objective is inclusiveness, what do you think? Would investments in the field of AI further increase the comparative disadvantages of those communities that are either too poor or too remote to access expensive hardware, such as computers and internet connections? This may in fact increase inequality. What do you think?
Well, concerning these aspects, I mean, technology is not necessarily expensive because, of course, definitely you need an access to the internet to be able to go on online education or things like that. But today, in a lot of countries, and again, with the new technologies, and I'm thinking about the internet coming from space, like the project from Elon Musk or the one from Jeff Bezos, who aims at providing quite a very cheap and not expensive connection to the internet, people are going to get access to the internet. And concerning the hardware, AI is, you don't necessarily need to make the AI software running on your own device. I mean, you can run all these algorithms from the cloud, and you don't necessarily need a very expensive device to access this kind of technology. So for me, AI is interesting to address these millions of students because, first of all, it can help to adapt to the learning curve and to understand what is the cognitive profile of the students and how can I be more efficient in terms of learning with this kind or that kind of cognitive profiles. So AI is really interesting because you adapt to the learning curve and you don't necessarily spend a lot of time on some topics that these or that students feel very comfortable with. You can adapt the speed of learning, you can adapt the content modalities with text, videos, pictures, or whatever you want. So it doesn't solve the problem of accessing the content. I mean, the issue concerning the device or the internet connection, but it addresses pretty well the issue of how can I access to a very adapted learning process and learning content, which is very adapted to each of these million of students. And you can adapt to the language, you can adapt again on the modalities, text, videos, pictures, or whatever you want. And you can adapt the content to be sure to be at the right content at the right time on the learning curve for that kind of cognitive profiles of the students. And that's a good way to do it because, I mean, you don't necessarily have to spend years or too long time on learning, because if you want to help people to learn how to read, to how to calculate, that's really interesting to get into these AI technology to do so.
So since AI is and is going to be ever more important in education, what do you think of the fact that the people who are educating other people in using AI are currently, well, mostly males, first of all, and it is a wider issue with all STEM subjects. It's not only about AI. And they're also mainly from the northwestern part of the world. How do you think that could be addressed?
Well, AI is really interesting, but you're totally right. There are a lot of, let's say, moral or ethical questions around this kind of technology. Because, first of all, we know that concerning AI and more globally the digital world, you got a lot of biases. And this AI technology tends to exaggerate all the bias of our societies. And you have mentioned the female versus male representation in the digital world. And it's really important in order to ensure an inclusive and equitable quality of education. We need to have in mind these ethical and moral topics and issues, but not on necessarily on AI technology, but much more on the data that we use to fuel the AI technology. Because basically, the bias, of course, can be into the algorithms of AI, but it is much more in the data we are using to make these AI algorithms learn and act into our environment. And definitely that's a huge question to address, and AI specialists are more and more conscious about that because there are a lot of examples concerning this bias about the AI technology.
So you mentioned the issue of bias, but do you think that, well, for example, governmental institutions should actually, try to encourage your colleagues, someone who might want to do a doctorate in with you, for example? Do you think that the government should try to encourage more diversity, such as creating special scholarships for women, or trying to get younger women interested in the subject, such as by talking to them about it back in high school, or should there
Yes.
be some?
Yes, definitely diversity is really important. I mean, concerning all the STEM and around digital and technology, and even in higher education, it's very important to have everyone involved in these kind of topics. Why? Basically, we already know that AI is really important concerning the evolution of the workplace and the evolution of the workforce and the evolution of the jobs, because you got a lot of studies that have analyzed that and the impact of AI. And for instance, it's around 60% of jobs that can be automated in the OECD area, or in Thailand, it's almost 75% that can be automated with AI and all this digital approach. So definitely, it's really important to have diversity and inclusion of a lot of people, because it can be a discipline by itself. And we will also need a lot of people and people to be able to get these new jobs around technology, digital and AI technology. Because, for instance, we can imagine to have jobs like teacher for AI, or AI ethicist, or HR manager with AI, and it's changing a lot of things. So it's both, let's say, like a threat on the jobs, but it is also a huge opportunity. And today, if you want to become specialist around digital technology and AI technology, you can access on the internet to a lot of resources that allows you to become one of these specialists. I've read quite recently an article very interesting about two people in Africa who have developed and coded their own internet browsers, because they have found that the Google's browser Chrome was not fast enough on their kind of device. And they have learned everything online, how to code, how to code this kind of software like an internet browser, and they have launched that browser very specific for the African market. That's a really nice story, and I dream about this kind of story concerning AI technology.
Okay. As a last question, the collection, use, and abuse of data, of the massive amounts of data that are used to train and feed artificial intelligence, may expose a lot of people to risks that they were not even aware existed, or that did not exist until a few years back. So what steps could be taken to mitigate these risks?
Um, well, concerning the risk of data, I mean, there are a lot of things. Because first of all, concerning the risk of data, of course, you got all this process of data collection of everything, everywhere, concerning everyone. And it can be really interesting to regulate that. And I think that the position of Europe is quite interesting around the respect of privacy with GDPR legal text. But you don't have only that kind of risk. I mean, when you are collecting data, as we said, first of all, you need to try to assess that your data has no bias by itself. And then you also need to assess that your data has not been changed and has not been compromised while you were storing these data. So you got a lot of questions around data in terms of privacy, in terms of technical validation of the data, in terms of bias. And that's why in the next decade, you will get a lot of different jobs around data by itself, and not necessarily only AI, but only around data, with all these data analysts, with all these data ethicists, again, and people who are going to address these kind of issues that are, I mean, huge when you think about AI, that are going to use all this data to run and to act with people. And that's definitely the core of the topic, because AI algorithms are going to interact with human. And basically, we need to be sure to understand what's happening on the whole workflow between the data and this interaction with human. And we need to assess like every steps concerning data, but also concerning the AI algorithm, because you still get a lot of these black box effects inside the AI algorithm. And basically, science is trying to develop some process and management process to avoid at the maximum this black box effect. So you see, you get a lot of big issues around AI, around data, and definitely, and again, I think that's really important that, of course, companies, but also governments are aware of that, because they need to, I think, regulate some parts of these aspects concerning data, but also concerning these black box effects around AI algorithms.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Professor.
You're welcome.
Ok. Bah, merci beaucoup, monsieur. C'était très intéressant. Je vais vous informer dès que le vidéo est en ligne. On va aussi probablement utiliser cette série de podcasts afin de créer un paper final résumant un petit peu quelle est l'opinion des experts qu'on a interviewés. Et je vais vous tenir au courant à chaque nouvelle étape du parcours. Merci
Oui,
beaucoup.
ben volontiers, parce que je trouve, enfin voilà, vous l'avez compris, hein, moi, je trouve que c'est une technologie qui est extrêmement intéressante, cette technologie d'intelligence artificielle, sauf qu'aujourd'hui, elle est très concentrée en fait au niveau d'un certain nombre d'entreprises, hein, qui ont une avance quand même très très forte sur ces sujets-là. Je pense que les pouvoirs publics n'ont pas nécessairement bien compris la dimension des enjeux autour de cette technologie-là. Alors, déjà par manque de formation, hein, sur ces approches-là et ce que ça permet de faire. Et du coup, c'est extrêmement important de former les futures générations sur ces sujets-là, parce que c'est pas si simple que ça comme technologie. Et il y a pas mal d'aspects où finalement, il faut essayer de s'assurer qu'il n'y ait pas trop de biais, qu'il n'y ait pas trop de problèmes. On a abordé le côté homme-femme, mais des biais, il y en a plein d'autres, hein. Vous avez forcément entendu parler de tous ces essais aux États-Unis, où finalement la population afro-américaine était mal reconnue ou pas reconnue correctement à travers les algorithmes d'intelligence artificielle, parce que toutes les données étaient basées sur le modèle du WASP, White Anglo-Saxon Protestant, voilà, qui ne correspond pas à la réalité de la population américaine aujourd'hui. Voilà. Et ça, ces enjeux-là, moi, je trouve qu'encore trop peu dans les entreprises et au niveau des pouvoirs publics, ce sont des enjeux qui sont connus et a fortiori maîtrisés, n'en parlons pas. Donc, preneur d'être tenu informé de votre podcast, même des suivants, et puis voilà, du paper. Et puis moi, je relayerai tout ça bien volontiers, parce que c'est important mondialement, en fait, le monde de l'enseignement supérieur alerte déjà et puis forme à ces enjeux-là. Donc moi, je trouve votre démarche vraiment top.
On essaye de le rendre un petit peu aussi, enfin, écoutable par le peut-être pas forcément le grand public, mais quand même le public, quelqu'un qui n'est pas spécialiste, ou voilà.
Non, non, mais c'est super. Tenez-moi au courant, ça sera avec grand plaisir.
Merci beaucoup, messieurs.
Merci, excellente journée, à bientôt.
Au
Au
revoir.
revoir.